Why do we value companionship so much? And do we value certain companions over others? We have terms like boyfriend, husband, girlfriend, wife, partners, acquaintance, friend, best friend. And we have family and twin flames and soulmates. And then on the opposite plane, we have exes and ex-friends and ex-family members. Over the course of time, we've come up with proverbs and quotes depicting our relationships with those around us. For example, the proverb, "Blood is thicker than water," used to describe the relations of family above all. Or the quote from Aristotle, "What is a friend? A single soul dwelling in two bodies," used to illustrate the depth of friendship that transcends physical boundaries. But what about ideas humans have created about loss of these relationships, like, if you love something, let it go. If it comes back to you, it's yours, and if it doesn't, it was never meant to be. I think it's important to ask ourselves what really makes us scared of letting people go. Do we attribute a mass amount of people in our lives to equate community and unity? Do we see people as forms of protection because we're kind of safer in numbers? I think both of these are true, but that's not to deny that there are times we enjoy being alone. But at what point does alone become lonely? And why are we always walking a tightrope between either never having time to ourselves or losing everyone and then feeling completely alone? What would happen if we were completely alone? Even that question makes me picture losing those I love, and it makes me uncomfortable. But what happens when you're holding on to that thing or that person like your life depends on it? Would it be easier to fight for what you've invested your love and life force into because it's easier to justify why you should? Or is it easier to let go and see if that love was something you really needed to fight that hard for in the first place? Side note, I had a past relationship in high school where I'll never forget one of our arguments. I said, I'm trying so hard to give you what you need and be the person for you. And he said, well, if you were the person for me, you wouldn't have to try so hard. And yeah, that relationship had its ups and downs and ultimately, rightfully ended. As messed up as it sounded in the moment, why was I trying so hard? Relationships with people do take effort, but it shouldn't feel impossible. Love is work, but it shouldn't feel like it. From my experience, when I finally decided to let something or someone go, it exposed a lot more baggage than I thought. For me, and maybe lots of you guys, it was a control issue. I thought if I could make every relationship perfect, then I wouldn't wonder what people may think about me. I wouldn't be scared to be open with them. And ultimately, I wouldn't have to fear them taking a piece of me with them if they ever left. Because if I could make people happy enough, then they would stick around for me. But that was definitely trauma. Trauma of a very, very little bear feeling like she wasn't good enough to stay for. And it took me absolute years to get over that. But through time, therapy, support system, and just my own life experiences, I learned that people leaving is not a sign of your incompetence to maintain relationships. It's a natural part of life, and it doesn't always involve you. Now, obviously, reflect and think about your own growth and how you can improve to be a supportive role in others' lives. But just don't see people leaving as a sign that you're less in any way. If someone comes back to you after you've both healed, then that time was necessary and nothing was wasted. Time is limitless in terms of growth. And if it doesn't come back to you, yes, it will absolutely hurt. You will feel pain you've never felt before. You will feel abandonment in your bones. You'll feel sorrow so deep, it'll feel like you've never known joy. But you have. You felt joy that morning when the rain brought you a sense of peace in your bed before taking your first steps of the day. You felt joy when you listened to your favorite song for the first time, when relating to someone so strongly made your little heart feel understood. You felt joy when you successfully finished a book and had bittersweet thoughts about the life of a character you'll never meet, but will forever love. You felt joy when your sad plant grew a new leaf, when your pet comforted you on the hardest days, and when you lit a familiar candle that transported you back to the last place you smiled. We have had joy in the smallest, most honestly insignificant periods of our lives, and yet they can still mean the world. And though our current situation might feel like everything is crumbling around us, we can remember that we will have good moments again. Sometimes the bad days feel overwhelming in comparison to the good moments, but the good is there and it'll grow. So if the love isn't good, and especially if it doesn't come back, it wasn't meant to be. Because it was always meant to be good. Nothing is ever really in our control, good or bad. Sometimes things just happen to us. Friends leave, marriages end, family dies, people get hurt, but holding on to the trauma and the fear of being abandoned is not how we resolve these things. Allowing things to come and go, not being afraid of death, being receptive to lessons learned, owning your mistakes and holding yourself accountable while also resting in the validations that your feelings do matter and it's okay to hurt for a while. But eventually we can come back and visit joy from those small moments. As a Christian, yes, I feel that suffering is a Pandora's box to open, and maybe it can be an uncomfy conversation soon. But for now, I will say, through times that have completely shattered me, somehow I'm still here. And yes, I owe it to God for reminding me those little things to keep me going, and I owe it to myself for even wanting to continue finding happiness. At some point, we're either going to let go of sorrow or let go of joy. So hold on to the one that makes you proud to look back on. If you feel like you need to let someone go, don't be afraid. And if someone has let go of you, remember you are more than just an attachment for that other person. Your body, mind, and spirit are relying on you to keep going. You owe it to yourself to find joy. You learn and you grow, little bears. See you guys soon.